Well, hello, everybody. Good morning. Hi, it's Becky from Power Tools with Thread. You are in our Stitchuation room. This is a Monday through Friday virtual stitching retreat where you hang out with me in here and follow me on my sewing journey. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. And I hope I can inspire you to put something under the needle. The receiver for my microphone is dangling by a USB cord hanging just within reach. And Dottie's kind of staring at it going, oh, what's that? I'm telling her, don't you do it. All right, you guys, get out of the cords. Get out. All right, we're going to do our treating, you guys. We have to do that so we can have some peace and quiet. Because my dogs, hello, everybody in the chat. How you guys doing? Good morning, good morning. Great to see y'all. All right. Let me point it down so you can see and get my little, there's my girls. There they are. There they are. There's my girls. Hi there. Oh, you're so good. You sit to get your treat. Sit down. Frito's not going to sit. She's too old. She's too old. Good to see you guys. There's another one. We went out this morning and we were good. Yep. The doors, the doggy doors are, she's almost mastered them. Now I have to mind when, when they go out. I just have to kind of pay attention to that. So, all right, I'm going to lure them outside. Let's go, guys. Let's get out of the room. Come on. You're good girls. Oh, you're sliding into home plate. There you go, Dottie and Frito. All right, we'll see you guys later. Oh, my goodness. All right, got them out. I was digging around in my closet today because my local chiropractor, I have a hang it, dang it on the big wall in her waiting room. And she lets me swap out quilts in there. And so I'm going to take Happy Halloween back over there. I finished this last year. This is the Amy Bradley Designs. We snap-appliqued this last year. It was a big sew-along, and all the videos came out while I was on a cruise. And I have my hanging triangles on the back. If you're new, this is amazing, an amazing way of being able to hang a quilt. You just slip a triangle. And I've got to put triangles on my other quilt. So we might do that tomorrow. But anyway, so I have to run this over there. I was going to take it over yesterday, but she's out. She's also an animal. She does animal adjustments. So she goes out to farms and whatnot. So anyway, I was digging around in my closet to get this out, and I came across this, and I said, what is this? I use those cheap plastic hangers you get at Walmart for pants. And that's what I hang my quilts with in storage. Normally I throw these away. That's what I do with that. But anyway, it has some kind of fusible on the back of it. I suspect it's Pellon's 987F. That's all it's got. And I think it was going to be quilted on my single needle because, look, I've got a set of crosshairs for some clear blue tiles. Yeah, and it's real big as far as clear blue tiles go. So I think I abandoned that idea. I do not know how old this is. It might be last year, it might have been the year before, or the year before that. I'm not sure. I don't remember. Anyway, I think I abandoned the idea of clear blue tiles and decided that it needed to go on the long arm instead. So see, and here's the thing. If I do this, y'all will be going, where do I get that panel? I don't know. I don't even have the selvage on it anymore to remember. Yeah, I had lined this up through the center first. It's the way I do that. I'll do mine. You can see the edges of the clear blue tiles. There's the corners of the clear blue tiles, and there's the center. There's that center mark. I don't even know what size I was going to do. So anyway, I like clear blue tiles if I'm going to be doing, individual small wall hangings or something like that. They're great for, to put it in your embroidery machine. But something this size, it just needs to go on the long arm. And then that means I've actually got to do that. And it has been hanging out in my hanging in my closet for a long time. So is it going to get quilted this year? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm working as hard as I can to get other things done. This is the one I need to put some hanging triangles on. Y'all, this is Kimber Bell's Candy Corn Quilt Shop. We made this together a couple of years ago too. I love this quilt. Have you guys seen it? Are they wearing costumes on Halloween, Cindy? Oh no. Frida would not tolerate that. She'd hate it. Yep. So here we go. Did that a couple. Betty Boop, Lisa, my quilty buddy Lisa, she made me this. And she just came to visit and she brought it to me. So he's perfect hanging out down there in the corner, right? Just perfect for that. So Candy Corn Quilt Shop. This was so much fun to make and we did it together last year. So yes, so Betty Boopette. Okay, that she's right. It is a square. People are like, how do you make the hanging triangle? You take a square of fabric. I learned this from Laura Koya. One of y'all sent me a video to show me her doing that on So Very Easy, her YouTube channel. She's got that. You just take a square of fabric and you fold it into a triangle, fold it diagonally into a triangle, and then fold that into a triangle again, just like those fancy napkins in a restaurant, right? And you take the raw edges and you just sew them up inside of the quilt on the top. And then all you need, and you do that in the binding phase, right? And I didn't know about those when I was doing this. So, so gosh, this is older than I thought. Anyway, so I've got it here on my little American truck. This needs to be switched out as well. I got some stuff I need to switch out here. So see that? That's the hanging triangle. You only have to do a couple of stitches on the point. And for someone like me who hates to hand stitch, I got arthritic fingers. It's miserable for me. I hate it. Plus it's tedious and slow. That's why I'm power tools with thread. But anyway, so this is just a little 6-inch square of fabric and it worked out fine for these little bitty ones. Well, how big of a square do you need? Well, that depends on how many you need to put across. So like on this one, the way I figure it, I like to put one in the middle so it doesn't get the droop from the center. So like on that one, I would probably do 5. I would do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, I don't know. So then from center, that's how I figure it out. So from center, how big is center here? Let's say this is 18 inches, right? Let's say that's 18 inches center. So if you use 2 9-inch squares, which is 18, what happens is you're going to get, I need to figure out that math and make it a permanent thing because people ask that all the time and I need an answer. So I need a good answer. So from center, what's the distance? And find a multiplier that's really, really close to that distance. So 2 9-inch squares would work, except that will get that hanging triangle into the corner of the binding. We don't want that. Don't want that. You want it to be just shy. See how that's not in, it actually stops right here. That's where the corner is. So I don't have a bunch of fabric up in that corner when I'm trying to make that miter. So 7-inch squares, 5 7-inch squares work perfect. Yeah. 2 7s is 14. That'd be fine on an 18. Yeah, because you can leave a little gap between them. They don't need to be corner to corner. What are we talking about? That's what happens. So I make different sizes with different size quilts. Yes, Karen, absolutely. I do. Yeah, you just have to, you just kind of got to do the math on that, right? Just figure that out. I wouldn't use 6-inch squares because you only get I wouldn't go any smaller than 6 either. You've got to have enough room for that hanging, whatever, a dowel or a rod or whatever it is. You need some gap for that. It's going to take up space when it slides behind it. So, yeah, the next multiplier down, that's probably the best way to go. You could use 7 or 8 inch squares. So if that's 18 inches, if you use two 8-inch squares is 16. That gives you 2 inches extra, or 7, either way. Big ginormous quilts, I would, 8 or 9 inch squares. You work that out. Wouldn't it work to do 3 in general and space apart? Yes, Betsy, it will. It just depends on how large your quilt is. Because if you're doing 3 and you've got a great big quilt, you might get a droop in between them, right? So the way to figure that out is to, or to test it and see if you need more than you think, is to just pin them in with some safety pins and hang it and see if it droops, right? Y'all, it's not rocket science. I know everybody goes, math, that's like me too, math, no. So anyway, 5-inch squares is way too small. That's going to be, for a quilt this size, 5-inch squares is way too small. I would use at least 7 or 8. 9 is too big. That's a real good way to figure that out. Go to half, whatever that distance is, find the even multiplier that makes those and come down an inch or 2 in your square cut size. That works. Okay. It is, Margaret. It's way too early for math. I see YouTube has not fixed y'all's names anymore either. It's still off. That's nothing for me. I can't do anything about that. I am having trouble with YouTube as well, Beth. Yes, I was trying to watch, my channels last night. I'm just trying to watch my channels, and the black screen comes up, and we get some blinking and all of that. I'm not sure what the deal is with that. I also have heard from a bunch of you that you're trying to watch members only content, and it is giving you, our servers are busy. Thinking about it from a cybersecurity perspective, because that's what I used to do in a former life, I suspect it's an authentication problem. And that means a user ID and password problem. I think their authentication server, because there's the box that says you are allowed to watch this, but not that, is also in the same group of boxes. We call them boxes in the tech world, servers, that you didn't come here. We're supposed to talk about quilting, but I can't help myself because I'm a nerd. That's the same group of servers, probably the authentication servers, that says who's doing YouTube Premium and who's not, who needs to see commercials and who doesn't. So they have to pass through those boxes. Then they got to pass through, are you allowed to watch this content and not that content? And then get you back to the video servers that serve up your movies, right? Your videos. And then the reason I say that is because it keeps messing with y'all's screen names. So that's what it is. The screen name, it was Nancy's birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Nancy, from Gifts HQ. Happy birthday. Happy belated. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? I don't work at YouTube. Thank the Lord. I work here. This is my job, and I love it. Keith and I were talking the other day. We were at the pool. Even though it's a little cool to be out, we did get in the pool the other day. It's a little chilly, but we have a heater anyway. And it's not that big. It's only 10 by 15. So easy to get up to 90 degrees in the pool. I just don't want to use up that much propane. So anyway, you join Premium and it's only working on your one TV. I would log out on your other devices, on your other device. So it's working on your TV. Right. Go to your other device, log out and log back in and see if that doesn't fix that. Yeah. You used my link for the Two Chicks website. Thank you, Shannon. That's awesome. I can get more dog biscuits. There's cake in the kitchen. Awesome, Vicki. Thank you so much for bringing that. It's your husband's birthday. That's awesome. Cake in the kitchen. We're going to have a big party for my birthday. That's coming up next month. Let me get this autumn love out of my way. I pulled some of it down to put up Candy Corn Quilt Shop. I am bound and determined today, this morning, I'm going to work on this and get my center put together and get it ready to go. I got a comment from one of y'all about you're very disappointed in me that I'm not finishing it. I am finishing it. I'm just not finishing it as a large wall hanging. There's going to be some autumn kitchen love in there as well, right? I am finishing it. It's just not going to be a big wall hanging because I've got blocks that are the wrong color and I'm not going to remake those. Y'all, Prim is hot on our heels here. It's coming up next month. So I am going to be putting this together. So I've shown you how to sew all the blocks, right? We've done all the blocks and I showed you how to put them together. So you should have it under your belt and be able to finish however you want yours to. The only reason I'm not doing mine, look at this. I did the same thing here. Is that right? I think I used the wrong fabric on my little squirrels too. Look at that. I used the wrong shade of the background fabric on the squirrels. Would you look at that? Now, I'm not changing these, but these go in the main quilt. I don't know. I might leave these out and just put this underneath. I've got to work on how much down the sides will work once I get this whole thing. I'm a hot mess. It's fine. Everything was operator error, I promise. Oh my goodness. I've got my fabric out right here for some prairie days. I'm finishing that up today. That's going to be today. Yeah, I'm showing you how to adapt a pattern for your needs. That's right, Elizabeth. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Flexibility is the key to air power, correct? Yes. All right. Oh, that's the house showing behind the squirrels. Oh, good. Thank you. Okay. That makes me feel better. So this morning, I wanted to go ahead and get the last week done of Up on the Rooftop. And we're quilting, not embroidering today, because I want this out of my life, right? I want to get it ready. Am I going to put it on the long arm or do I want to do quilting? I'm going to have to see when it's all big, when it's all put together. Do I want to put it on the long arm and go to that trouble, or do I want to just do it in the embroidery machine? So I'll have to see. You still need to start Up on the Rooftop, Kiara? I don't know how to say your name, sweetie. I'm sorry. All right, let me turn this on. Great day yesterday. Got lots of stuff done in here. Thank you so much, Kim, for sending me that article about how to judge a quilt show. Things to consider. I took a lot of those questions and I put them into a spreadsheet because I'm a nerd. And I'm going to send that to the lady who asked me to be a judge at the quilt show so she can get those made up for the other judges. That would be great, right? So I'm just going to get that. I did spend some time on that yesterday as well. So, okay, this is what's left to put together of that last week of that Up on the Rooftop. And I'm putting together the sleigh. So I'm just going to start doing that here. And I also shot part of a video for my members only yesterday about prepping for prairie days, which I should have done to start with, but at least I got it done now. Better late than never. In the category of better late than never, the winner is Power Tools with Thread. Meredith loves a spreadsheet. I do too. Oh my goodness, I love a spreadsheet. Pivot tables. I had a boss who came in talking about pivot tables, and he was like, you need to make a pivot table for this data. And I stared at him with crickets and blinky eyes going, what? I had to go to YouTube and figure out what a pivot table was. Yeah, now I'm a pivot table wizard. Back in the day, right? Okay. I need to figure out where I am and what I have sewn and what needs done. Ah, I know it. Okay. I need to get, I am at, you know, they don't number these. Okay. So the other day when we were here, I was telling y'all how to get these, the stars together. Well, look at that. Didn't that come out pretty? Pretty, pretty, pretty. Shannon says, I love spreadsheets and I understand them better than men. Right? Fabulous. I love that. I love that. All right. If you're a brand new quilter, we're just chatting, y'all. We're just chatting. If you're a brand new quilter, I need to sew this strip, which doesn't have any joins on it. There's no points or pieces or anything. And this strip, this goes on the side. Okay. Don't sew this on top and, you know, good Lord willing and the creek don't rise, you hit your points correctly and you don't snub them. Don't sew with this on top. Sew with this on top. Then you can see your points. And if you have seams that are open and you can't see your points, feel free to fold them over or mark them or whatever you like. So like here, I need a pair of glasses. Y'all don't sew blind. Okay. Let me zoom in so I can show you this. Where's my button? Okay. So this seam is open, but right, you can see where that point of that red right there, that loose red. Okay. That's where I need to hit. And then if I'm lucky, I can see the joined threads right there. Okay. Where they cross. Let me get my pin. Where's my, I'll use my pencil for a pointer. I can see where this seam right here, I'm looking on my screen on my laptop, and this seam right here, you need to hit that. That's what you got to hit. Okay. And then on this up here, I need to hit right at where that red point is right there. That's what I got to hit. The odds of me doing that accurately, and the natural inclination is to put your strip on here like this. And so that's the natural inclination. I try, you know, you could try it. Make sure your seam ripper's handy. Make sure your seam ripper's handy if you're going to do that. Yeah. No, so I'm going to, and y'all be purposeful about how your fabric starts. Okay. Don't see how you can see the back fabric sticking over the top just a tiny bit. Can you see that? Let me show you. We're going to get up close again. See how you can see that back fabric sticking over the top just a tiny bit. That's going to cause you problems later on. Just that little bit. Just that little bit is going to cause you problems. Maintain the integrity of the base shape. Today, the base shape is this guy. All right? Because I'm adding to it. The base shape is the one that's the base and you're adding to it. So I'm going to make sure that these match these corners. I don't want to see the base shape on the other side of my strip, and I don't want to see my strip on the other side of the base shape. Maintain the integrity of the base shape. That is a rule for quilting. Rule, big rule. Okay. And same one, I'm doing the top and the bottom. If I have a strip that's more than like 2.5, I'll go ahead and put a pin at the bottom so that the feed dogs don't pull it through faster than I would like. All right, that looks good. I've got some, let me see here. I just want to make sure I don't have any gaps. I've got a bag, a little bit of a bag. See that? How it's not laying flat on there? That can cause a problem. That's because this fabric in these triangles is cut on the bias. So here's a sewing tip for garments, right? So normally you want baggy on bottom, but if I sew with baggy on bottom, I can't see my points. You can put a pin through them and mark them. But another thing you can do is drape this over your finger. Drape it over your finger, right? And ease is the word. Ease that with a tiny bite from a pin. Just a tiny bite, not a big bite, just a tiny bite. That's going to help that stay where you want it. I'm going to do it at all the intersections because I'm not feeling the love on this, y'all, at all. Okay. This is how you ease a sleeve cap into an arm's eye. I love it. Hey, who's making Halloween costumes? Leave me a comment in the chat if you are making Halloween costumes. If you're such a glutton for punishment. Yeah, I want to know. And if you are, what are you making? You can put a comment below too. We all want to know who's busy this season making Halloween costumes. You know, you can get those junky costumes so dirt cheap. All right. I need to hit that point. I don't want to be too far away from it and leave fabric, and I don't want to be over the top of it. And all right, this is causing me problems. I'm gonna raise my foot and see if I can't get it. Ease in there. If you do a tuck, I'm going to be mad. Don't do it. You just have to talk to your fabric. Don't do it. You know, I think one of the biggest things too, to be a quilter, is to understand what's happening with your fabric as it goes under the needle and be able to head off problems at the pass so that your points fit perfectly with no bagging or tucks. Ta-da. Yeah. That's the thing. You know what you're getting into. Pretty, pretty. And it's not wonky. It's straight on. It's level across the top. Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. Just beautiful. Oh, too, if y'all are making, if anybody is making that Prairie Days, there's a fabric, couple of them. This fabric right here, really any quilt that you're making, and you're using a fabric that's a stripe. This is in Prairie Days. So I made the mistake yesterday of spraying this with spray starch, the quilter's cutting fabric, faultless magic. Anyway, crafter's quilting spray, whatever. And then I pressed it, and don't you know I got a wave in that stripe. I got a wave. Don't do that. Don't moisturize it. Just heat. That's all you need. So you use secondhand clothing to make your husband Captain Jack Sparrow, and nobody from his work recognized him. That's amazing. Good for you. How cool is that? Isn't being able to sew fantastic? I love that. That's great. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. So I need to do the next one. Look. Yeah, this turned out just beautiful. Look at those. Very, very pretty. Very nice. Keith is outside with the dogs. I can hear him. Oh, so yeah, we're about letting, so Dottie is getting the hang of those doggy doors. We have a screened in, well, it's a room. We turned our back patio into a room as like an add-on. So there is a doggy door between our house, main house, and that back room. And that back room has two doors, and there are doggy doors in both of those. And that way they can come and go all they want. And we've got a big fenced in backyard. However, there where the gate is a big swinging gate so that Keith can get that riding zero turn in there. Well, we live on sand, okay? We don't live on this. Where I live used to be the Gulf of Mexico several million years ago. Anyway, my entire life out here is sand, pure sand, like the beach, sand. And she could dig under that and get out. And don't you know that corgi's a digger? Oh, yeah. She was in a hole so deep the other day we couldn't see her. Keith had a fit. Anyway, so he's got to get some road base or asphalt put down where that gate goes so that she can't dig. Because right now the gap's about so big, about that big. She could definitely get out of there right now. And what's back there is kind of a wooded area. And we have predators back there. So I'm just not 100%. Your kid's got a doggy door, but they're Weston waits at the door until you tell her to come in. That's funny. Yes. So Patty, that's kind of where we're at right now too. She wants to sit there and just go. But I went out in that back room yesterday and she was outside in the backyard wandering around looking at me through the door. Okay, now look here. Here's a situation. All right. Here's a situation. Here's a stitchuation. Okay, look at this. So when I go to put this strip on, look how the two in the middle don't meet it. So, a couple of different ways you can deal with this. And the way I deal with it is I am going to give it some tension on the ends to keep it straight. Okay. And I'm just going to pinch it right there. And I'm going to put a pin so that it holds right there. Now, if your join where you need to hit, if your point where you need to hit is way down here, that's going to cause too wide of a seam allowance. You've lost your 1/4 inch. All right. So the idea is to get this so that that 1/4 inch seam allowance is where it needs to be. Let me put a pin right here. I'm just pinching it. I gave it a little tension and I pinched it. So on this one, that's a hot mess. See that? That's a hot mess right there. But what I want to do is I'm going to trust that this fabric is the true line, not down here. So if I was to put my ruler up, I need my little ruler. Let me have this other ruler. If I put my ruler up to the edge, the 1/4 inch, if I put my ruler up to the straight line on the top, the 1/4 inch matches. So what happened is I've got some weirdness happening here because of that bias cut. And I think Dottie got a hold of the cover for my batteries on my button. I think so. I think that happened. I wonder where those teeth marks came from. I've got some cords over here. I put bitter apple on a lot of stuff, but I didn't put it back over there. She went back over there and was nosing the other day. Man, I'm looking at her. I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. All right. You will have that happen a lot where your bias piece, it doesn't meet. Give this a shy seam right here, but hit that point. Just make sure, okay? I hear you knocking, but you can't come in. My dogs are outside on the door. Okay. So I'm gonna have a y'all. This is a tricky one. It's so easy to mess up your 1/4 inch seam on these. The rest of this quilt's just going to fly together because it's just, but this star is going to be a pickle. I know it. Okay. This is what I'm doing right here. That's just the way it's going to go. We'll have to see how it works. You got a cat that chews things? Oh my gosh, y'all. I had adopted these 2 cats when I first got back from the Azores, long before Keith and I got married. I didn't even know him then. I had these 2 cats. And they were great. But one of them was destructive. And ate a crock shoe, got into the laundry basket and ate out the crotch of one of my Victoria's Secret delicates. That was the end of that. I got rid of that cat. I don't like destructive animals. All right, here we go. I've got to hit a point. I'm just crossing my fingers here, you guys. Here we go. That cat wasn't meant for being, I heard they came from the same family, so I adopted it. I wanted 2, so they kept each other company, right? All righty, here we go on this point. And once I got rid of that orange dominant cat, the gray one, oh, he just bloomed. He was so sweet. He used to hide all the time. Wonderful cat. His name was Breezer. I love that cat. Such a sweetie. Love to be cuddled and snuggled. All right. This is looking good here. That looks good on that side. And there's my seam allowance, wonky on the, where you can see the line up above that. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, it's short. That didn't work. I got 1 point correct. This is unsatisfactory to me. Let me show you. Come on. See how far away that point is from the seam line? That is no bueno. This one's fine. So what do? There's a couple of different ways you can handle that. Here's my thought. More important than anything is that the tips are not blunted and you have a 1/4 inch seam allowance on both ends, because these are where you're going to marry this up with another block, right? So you can take the sewing machine and do a dip. You can gradually start out here and come down and do a dip and then gradually come back up to your 1/4 inch up here. Or you can unpick it. And the problem with that is you are going to get a dip here. That can dip. That can be taken away with some steam and you can kind of ease it, stretch it out. You're literally going to have to stretch it out. Or you can unpick it and pull this one up just a tiny bit. And I'm going to do that. That's what I'm going to do. Where did I get my ruler rack? On the wall behind me? Debbie, my husband made that one. My son makes these things. And he just got back from Japan, and he is going to be making some more, and we'll put them on the store site. He says, Mom, I found out 2 of his children, how old is Calvin? 13 or 14? Yeah, 14. I can't remember. He was born in 2011. Okay, the 14-year-old and the 12-year-old both need braces to the tune of $14,000. So, for both of them. So he's like, I need to get some more. His wife, I love her. You need to get some more ruler racks out on the store site. So you guys will be seeing more ruler racks, and your purchases are going to be straightening out my grandchildren's teeth. I appreciate you for doing that. All right, so here's what I did. I pulled the seam, not completely out, just a little bit. See the string? I pulled it out just a little bit. So I am going to kind of raise this up, not even 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to see if I can't get this. Okay. So now the gap in the fabric is a little bit less. Okay. And I can see this up over the top of that. This is called finagling. This is what we're doing. We're finagling. So when I do this, you can cross a seam and create a secure stitch. Okay, let me show you. Let me get right in there, right there. Okay, so I'm going to start where I pulled the seam. I pulled the seam to right here. This is where I took the seam out. I'm going to start back here in the seam allowance, and I'm going to come up and get on the seam and cross over that. And then come all the way down here, and here's where I stopped, and I'm going to cross over that again. I could take it apart completely, but I don't want to. Oh, that is Frito barking. I wonder what's the matter with her. Oh, y'all, I got to tell you, this morning, she and Dottie were romping. All right, let me hit that. There we go. And Frito, I saw her put her mouth on a plastic package of fabric that's up on a shelf and act like, I'll take it. I'll take that. You like that? Look at that. And we are, like she was going to pull that off the shelf. Let me make sure this is straight on this ruler. Oh, yeah, that looks really good. I've got a little bit of dipping, but I like it. That will work. Okay. Anyway, so y'all, this is so funny. This is what healers do. Okay. So she's never once in the 3.5 years we've owned her messed with my fabric ever, because she's an older dog. Never once bothered it. So Dottie's chewing on her neck and got her by the collar, and Frito puts her mouth on a plastic bag that's got yardage in it and grabs a hold of it, and she's looking at me, and she starts to pull it out, and she saw me looking at her, and she goes, oh, I wasn't doing that. She was going to blame that on Dottie. Sneaky dogs. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's exactly it, Terry. You're absolutely right. You do not have to tear the whole piece out. Don't do that. Just where the points didn't work. It works just where they didn't meet. It works just, that's exactly what I just did. So let me press this. It's exactly what I just did. Don't pull the whole thing out. You don't have to. Just the spot that didn't work. And more than once, I mean, if it's like just a needle width, I'll just go ahead and stitch from behind it, past it again, and come in that needle width. This was a little bit more than that. But here it is, you guys, and it's beautiful. Look, it's not dipping. It's perfect. It'll work fine. Yep. Yep. Jean says, let me count the number of times I've done that. We don't have enough time in the day, my friend. That's how I am anyway, not to count mine. This looks great. That took forever. Okay, time to be putting some stuff on here. All righty, letter T. Now I can get to going. Doing the same thing here. Let me press this out. Ta-da! That's right, ta-da! Yay, it worked. You know, when I wish I'd have had somebody telling me these little things, because when I started, you know, I just flew by the seat of my pants. But when you're doing these things, oh no. Oh no, did I cut that wrong? What size is letter T supposed to be? 8.5. What size is this? 8.5. Rats. All righty. So I got a problem here, and it's because of the bias cuts. Here's my problem. This needs to be 8.5. And I've got fabric out here and fabric out there. How am I going to fix that without it getting all bunched up? So if you're a beginner quilter, you look at that and go, that's not too bad. I'll just sew it. So that's going to cause problems. All right. So what I'm going to do, I am going to sew it with my smaller piece on top now. Okay. And I'm going to match both ends because it needs to be 8.5. And right now it is 8 and let's see, 8 3/4. Yeah. You can run another stitch. Here's a cheat. You can run another stitch in the center from here, just a thread width. That'll take up a little bit of space in the center of that on both. You can do that. That'll bring it in just a little bit. Matter of fact, I think I might do that. I think I might. That's a good idea. That's going to take up some of this extra baggy that I have. See, this is really an issue because of all of these points. So let's cheat that and see if that works, shall we? I don't want to run the whole seam because if I run the whole seam, I'm going to mess up that beautiful center right there. Trim it. Betty Boopette says trim it. Yeah, you could trim it. Just a tiny bit, right? All right, my friend, you're the master quilter. I will take your advice. Let's do that. I'm going to put these both together so they are the same. I'm going to get my little bitty. I want these to be identical, right? So if it's supposed to be 8.5, each side should be 4 1/4, right? From center seam is what it should be. Let's see. I have 4 and almost 7/8. Is that right? It's quite a bit. I'm going to take off 1/8 of an inch and see if that doesn't work. Yeah, we're going to trim this. That'll narrow in that little side, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. I need a longer ruler. I need a longer ruler. All right. This looks even. You don't want to make it too short. That'll be bad. That'll be bad. I'm just going to take off 1/8. Okay. All righty. Let's see. Did I just cut the wrong one? Yeah, I did both sides. Nope, that'll be fine. That worked. It's not exact, but it's close. Okay. That's much better. Yeah, there we go. That's much better. That'll work. Thank you, my friend. I loved quilt retreats. We share techniques and tips. Better to trim from the center. Yeah, that's what I did. I measured it from center out. Okay. And I can see these points. This is going to work, y'all. Thanks. Thanks, Lisa. Oh, I got to send you something, Lisa. I got the cues. Keith made you something. I got to put it in the mail. That's cute. Okay. Y'all, when Lisa left out of here, she came and visited her grandbaby. And she and her husband came over here. And I loaded her up with fabric. Oh, my gosh. Emptied out some bins. Because she's got a quilting and embroidery clubs and whatnot. But they do lots and lots of stuff where she lives. And I said, here, take this for your quilt group. I have so much fabric that I'm never going to use. And I needed it to go to a good place, you know? All right, I got to hit this point. See, this is why this takes so long. And you're thinking, well, how hard can that be? Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's going to work. This is going to work great. That was really too much to try to ease in. You would have gotten all kinds of tucks and bubbles and drama. There we go. So that's good. We don't have any kind of bubbles or drama on that. You're still digging out all that stuff. Yeah. I gave her boxes and boxes of stuff, y'all. That'll work. All right. That's perfect. I'll take that all day long, you guys. That looks good. Take that all day long. Okay. Awesome sauce. And then the next one is a piece that I put a corner on. I have to find it. I think it's this one. This one right here. I put the corner on that. Okay. And the corner goes down here. Yeah, that'll work okay. Yep. Yeah, I trimmed them from the center, so both sides at the same time, so that they are identical. One isn't visually larger than the other. Do I ever cut fabric a bit larger than the cut to correct quarters? I don't understand that, Helen. Do they give you a trim size for the star before you added that last piece? Betsy, they may have. Did they? Yeah, they did, I think. The problem is that those 1/4 inch seam allowances on the tips of the stars. Yeah. You don't want to tip your star points. You won't be happy with that at all. Blunted is the word I read yesterday. All right. That one side just had it shy just a tiny bit, and that was an issue. Okay. We're going to get this on. So much to do. So much. Do y'all ever watch Mimi's Recipes? This lady, she lives in one of the Carolinas, I think North Carolina, and she's got to be 90 if she's a day, and put out a couple of cookbooks of just good country cooking, old-fashioned cooking, bland as bland gets. She pretty much only uses spices that are salt and pepper to taste, and that's it. Anyway, I watch her techniques, and she's as sweet as she can be. Let me hit that point. Hold on. And I bought both of her cookbooks. Mondays with Mimi, and then Sunday brunch. They're little spiral bound. And so we've been eating that, you know, about 10:30, I'll go start a casserole or something. And they're pretty good. Now you know, we like Cajun flavor. So I throw a lot of slap your mama in there or something like that. Keith's happy with it. It's kind of a cross between Midwest cooking. Okay, this is good. This turned out nice and flat. All right. Brenda Gant. I'm going to have to check her out, Betsy. I'm going to have to check her out. Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Love it. I was watching this one lady. I don't even remember her name. I was starting to watch her, and she talks slow and she moves slow. And I was like, I'm going to drop over dead before she cuts that oven on. So I turned her off. I said, no, I can't watch that. Isn't that great? You can just flip the channel. I watch so much YouTube. That's why it's worth it to me to pay that $18.99 a month. All right. Hot diggity. This is done. Look at that. That section's finished. Make one. Thank goodness. That was too much like work. Beautiful. I love it. All right. What's next? I need to take square A, or letter A, this guy. I'll flatten that out. All right. And it needs to go on the top up here. Wow, our hour's almost up. Now this is a good way to check if you've got stuff right. I know that this is square. So if I put this on here and I put this along the top and I put it down the sides, it fits perfect. It's square. I don't have any wonkiness going on. All right, you've convinced me. I'm gonna have to check out Brenda Gant. Now I need to get this cut because I've got to flip that. So what I'm gonna do, this is a sew and flip corner. And here's the way I do that. Oh, there's one. We got 1 minute left. So I am going to take a long ruler. This is a ruler I got from Creative Notions Quilt Shop, you guys. Let me put this where it needs to go. Exactly. I'm going to put the ruler corner to corner. Okay. Exactly where it needs to go. I'm going to take this orange that ghosts on this dark. Okay. Oh, she has pink goggles. Oh, oh yeah. Lisa was telling me about this guy who cooks with his kids' pink goggles on. It's funny. All righty. Oh, and so this is the side I want to cut off, right? So now I'm going to sew on the line. Since the ruler was corner to corner, the line is right next to it. So here we go. I'm just going to make sure that this is staying exactly on, maintain the integrity of the base shape. And if you did it right, then this has the turn of cloth room, which is a phrase used in garment making, to meet exactly where it needs to go. Yep. And create a perfect sew and flip corner. So now I'm going to press it. I'm holding it exactly where it needs to go. You're exactly where you need to be. Okay. That's good. And then I'm going to cut it. Let me get this done. My rotary cutter. About 1/4 inch, thereabouts, give or take. Awesome. It's done. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I appreciate it. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe. It is free to subscribe. And then we can, and hit the bell for notifications, and then we can hang out more often. I just love you guys. I hope you have a great day. Tomorrow's Giveaway Friday. Yay! Come on back then, and we'll sew some more, okay? I'll talk to you guys soon. Love y'all. Go sew something. Bye.